Hi guys, welcome to FootyWit podcast. My name is Ehis Anthony, and I've got a full house today. We'll be discussing can Liverpool retain the EPL title. My name is Ehis Anthony once again, and with me are Babatunde Idumo, Chimamaka, and Damini making his debut on the podcast. Hey, cheers! Do we need to ring a bell for him or what?
I think you
Yeah.
should ring the bell. I actually think you should ring the bell.
Oh, sorry,
Ring the
there's no
bell.
bell. What? There's no bell. There's nothing to press here, no console to press here.
You're welcome, guy. You're
The only,
welcome.
the only thing we can give is a thumbs up and we'll say welcome to you on FootyWit podcast.
I'll take that. I'll take that.
Welcome,
that.
Damini.
Yeah.
Welcome to
Yeah.
FootyWit
Great
podcast.
to be here. Great to be here. Great to be here.
Yeah. So we'll just be gisting. It's all gist, and we just want to discuss Liverpool. After seeing the humdinger that happened at Villa Park, Aston Villa trashing Liverpool 7-2. No one saw that coming. Nobody saw that coming, really. I'm so sure I can beat my chest and say none of you guys on the podcast currently saw that result coming.
I saw the result.
I didn't see 7-2. I didn't see 7-2, but I had a very strong feeling Liverpool would win.
Well,
I had a very strong feeling that Villa would win, rather. I expected Villa to win, honestly.
Wow.
I predicted
Chimamaka.
the Villa win.
As a
Chimamaka.
Chelsea fan, I didn't expect Liverpool to lose
Though
that much.
to be fair on Sunday, because we have where we make our predictions,
Yeah.
weekly
It
predictions,
was actually
and
in track.
he predicted that Aston Villa was going to beat Liverpool, but
Yeah.
he never predicted the 7-2.
I didn't
Nobody
predict
did.
7-2, but I
What did you
predicted
predict?
I said they will send a
He just predicted a
shockwave
win.
across the Premier League. I said that. They will send a shockwave across the Premier League.
And they did.
7-2 against Liverpool. That's a shockwave.
That's a tsunami, man.
That's
an earthquake.
So what we'll just be discussing today on FootyWit podcast, we just freestyle. Look at Liverpool chances. Are they going to retain the title? Is it repeat, or is it going to be repeat or bust for Liverpool? Jurgen Klopp celebrated how many years in the club
5.
of recent? Liverpool celebrated in 5 years, and we saw the stats which he shared with you guys on our WhatsApp group. He has 272 games. He's been in charge of 272 games. 164 wins, 62 draws, 46 losses, percentage win of 60.3, and he has won 4 trophies, which are the EPL, the Champions League, the UEFA Super Cup, right? And the World Club Cup, which is fair for any manager. Any manager that wins that is cool. It's so cool. But we're concentrating on this season because we've seen teams in the EPL win the Premiership in the past. I think Manchester United Chelsea during Mourinho era. I can see Damini and Chimamaka smiling already because I mentioned Chelsea. Manchester United as well during Ferguson, where they have to repeat, having to retain the title. Arsenal never did it. 98, 2001, 2003.
When we get to that video,
Shots
No,
fired.
they didn't do it. Man City did it under Guardiola, if I'm correct. He did it.
Yeah.
okay.
So Liverpool, we knew how long it got them to win the EPL. 30 years of waiting. Even Arsenal didn't have to wait 30 years. But Liverpool had to wait 30 years. And they won the title emphatically last season, going 44 games from the previous season, 2018-2019 season, going into 2019-2020 season. And it got to that game at the at Watford, where Watford had to take them to pieces. They lost heavily, 3-0. So, guys, let's look at it. And also into the season, their first game against Leeds United, 4-3, was a goal fest. And they went into the second game. They dismantled Chelsea. Chelsea were one man down. With all due respect to Chelsea. And also they played Arsenal. They won Arsenal 3-1. Shambolic defending from Arsenal. And they went to Villa Park thinking it was going to be a stroll in the park. And they lost 7-2. on our social media handle, we posted today about the 9-0 loss Southampton to Leicester City, and we're saying, can we see such happening this season? And this season is just 4 games gone, and we've seen 7-2. There's every tendency we'll see 10-0 with the way things are going. But guys, let me leave it for you guys. Starting with Damini making his debut on the podcast, Liverpool. What's your take on Liverpool this season thus far?
So for me, I want to start it with a question, right? And the question is very simple. So after what we saw against Leeds United, also against Aston Villa, I want to pick those 2 matches in particular, right? Do we think that Liverpool can kill the other small teams in the Premier League? So, for example, now, if Liverpool should play against a Everton, right? Their next match is against Everton or something. That's a goal first. That's easily a goal first match. Easily.
Everton.
Like a 3-3, 4-3, something ridiculous like that, right? If they play against who else am I thinking of? A Brighton, for example, now on a good day, right? They've lost their fear factor. If you ask me, no club is afraid of them. It's the same thing Manchester United is suffering from right now. Nobody's afraid of Manchester United. Whether you're going to Old Trafford or you are coming to your own stadium, Manchester United is just players that are not like fantastic. So on a good day, you can fight with them and still 3 points, right? So I personally feel it's not impossible. Again, this is football, right? So far, Mane is still in Liverpool. For me, Mane and Alisson, those 2 players, anything can happen. They can find a way. Alisson can force a clean sheet anytime, can stop the penalty, all those ridiculous things that he did last season. Mane at the same time can practically show his African muscle and just play, right? So for me, Salah is not even their secret weapon, right? It's more of Mane, Henderson, and Alisson, and that's for me. Because Henderson, for example, now is a cool-headed guy. Against Villa, they were just running all over the pitch. It was obvious that they had nobody to calm them down. Once they considered a goal, we just think that, okay, let's counter and try and score another one. Before you know it, Villa will catch them again. Boah! And you're playing against Grealish. Grealish right now is upset that no club seems to get him. Personally, I feel Grealish has low-key beef with every other top 6 club. Like, people don't want to sign me, Abi, because you think I'm not good. Oh, yeah, let me show you who I am, right? You also have Barkley now. Barkley also feels that he's a Chelsea reject. So these boys are still going to cause problems, right? These boys are still going to cause problems. And I don't feel like Liverpool have a good defensive pairing, right? I feel Van Dijk doesn't have a good pairing beside him to stop those goals. I don't think he does. Firmino, still, I don't know whether I can't imagine that you will call somebody a striker and he scores less goals than his wingers. It still doesn't add up to me. So it was a good season, Last season was a good season, but it's not repeating itself. I don't see it repeating itself at all. I don't know. I don't see it repeating itself. Personally, for me, I don't see it. Everybody's so quiet. I did a good job now.
Yeah, you make your point, man. I really get it.
No problem. You did a good job. You did a good job.
Yeah. Bro, from my own end, let me talk like an analyst.
Chimamaka.
Well, yes. Are you hearing me loud and clear? I believe you're hearing me, right?
Yeah.
I don't see Liverpool repeating what happened last season. They had a ride last season. This season is not going to be that way. Now, this is the 4th match of the season already, and they've already taken in 7-2 from a team that struggled to survive the relegation last season.
Louder, bro. Louder. Let those at the back hear you.
Now, this is a Liverpool team that won the EPL actually with about 2 or 3 matches to spare against an Aston Villa team that had to fight till the last game of the season to hold a spot back in the EPL. Now, if that is happening at the 4th match of the season already, then we should expect blinders this season from any team. There is no team that is called a small team any longer. Liverpool. When I watched the game, I found it difficult to analyze because I realized that the whole team are in shambles. Why did I say so? They felt they had that, according to what Damini said, they felt they carried that fear factor. Meanwhile, the thing came and messed them up at Villa Park. The Villa Park had a stroll in the park, actually. They had a wonderful time in the park. They had picnics, they had they had so much fun at Villa Park. Like he said, he stated Jack Grealish. Grealish actually waited for a big money transfer that didn't happen. We saw a Barkley that is actually who was deemed as a reject in Chelsea that went to go and wreak havoc. Now, I won't just mention these players. I will take it back to their gaffers, to their manager. Dean Smith is doing a wonderful job. We didn't happen to see that last season because they had problems coming into the Premier League and trying to fight their way all through. Now, this season, they've brought in some one, two, three players. The first acquisition they had that actually touched me, that actually hit hard, was the acquisition of Arsenal reject, Emi Martinez. You cannot close your eyes to that guy's
Oh yeah.
impact
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
this season. I can remember one of the matches before this fourth match, he saved a penalty. He was actually the man of the match. So these are things you have to look at as well. You have to see some of all these things. They have good acquisitions who are actually blending in already. So they did their homework, is what I would say. Aston Villa did their homework, and they didn't just do their homework. They did a project, and they came out excellent in their project. They dismantled the current EPL champions. I will not talk the tactical approach at which club came with. I will not analyze the approach at which the Smith came with. But at the end, the results played out fine. I'm a Chelsea fan. I suffered defeat. 7-2 is more like you did a good job. I'm happy about that, actually. Over to you, man.
I would continue on what you said, Chimamaka. You know, it's the recruitment in for Aston Villa was fantastic because those players that they brought in are good enough to be starters in the clubs they came from, and they happen to find themselves where they are. The captain, Jack Grealish, is a good enough player to play at any of the top teams in the Premier League. You know, so for the fact that they already have that first experience in the Premier League, second, they went through the troubles of relegation last season as a group, as one unit. I think that has further bonded that team to the point that they are ready for any challenge. Believe me, I believe I believe that the relegation battle is more difficult than the race to win the championship, to win the Premier League. It's a lot tougher down there than to win the Premier League. And for them to have come through, I mean, for real, they battled relegation for a good part of the season, up to half of the season of the last season. And for them to have come back, they had to keep scoring goals, even though they were conceding goals. What the manager did was just to make sure they stopped all the goals that they are conceding. And with that, I mean, if they stop conceding goals, believe me that they'll keep scoring. For Liverpool, Liverpool's problem has been that they are yet to find a way to not concede goals. They are yet to find a way to keep clean sheet. The moment Alisson is not in goal. Every time Alisson is not in goal, they are yet to keep a clean sheet, and that was their greatest undoing. That will continue to be their undoing for as long as Alisson is out, which I think is going to be about 3 or 4 weeks. This season's Premier League is going to be a bloodbath for everyone because number one, these players did not really rest. You have to make sure that you are outscoring your opponents every time. You have to make sure this season because it's going to be. Yeah, I mean, they've scored over 140 goals in 4 games across the Premier League this season. Over 140 goals already. It's going to be that type of season where everybody will just be scoring, and you have to make sure you outscore your opponents. I don't see Liverpool doing that this season because of, again, you just mentioned it, Firmino being their main striker. yeah, it's not going to cut it. I don't think Firmino is that striker that can produce at the top level, being that he's the only person up there. I don't think he's that. But again, I don't think Liverpool can retain the Premier League simply because one, they can't keep enough clean sheets. I don't think they can keep enough clean sheets this season. Secondly, I don't think they can always outscore their opponents. They were fortunate against Leeds. Those ones were matching them. So it means that any team that goes attacking against Liverpool, they would likely come ahead against them. So it's going to be a very long season. But bottom line, I don't see Liverpool retaining it because of the amount of goals that it's looking like they will concede this season.
Well said.
I agree.
Well said, bro. So I'll continue. So now from all we've actually said, it's understandable that we are looking at Liverpool not doing what they did last season, this season. So it's actually on my own take. I believe it's not going to happen. Even if it's going to happen, it's going to be a very slim chance. It's going to be a very slim chance. I agree with what Damini has also said, and Tunde as well. So out of Liverpool, we are still talking of Liverpool. Now, Jurgen Klopp had 5 years to achieve this. We know how it has been with the likes of Chelsea, who have had over 8 managers in the space of 10, 15 years.
That's 5 years.
Yeah, we've seen it with Manchester United, who have had change of managers in the space of 5 years. Arsenal just did theirs recently. Actually, they've also had change of managers. We've seen Tottenham Hotspur also suffer the same thing. What do you guys think? What's you guys take on it with Klopp? Do you think Klopp actually had an easy ride running 5 years, which is not always easy? I don't know what you guys feel about it with the amount of years he had till he was able to accomplish the EPL title. Damini, what do you think?
So for me, right, Klopp actually, I started hearing about Klopp when he was back in Mainz in Bundesliga, right? And in Mainz, he actually did something there. He got into the top, I think top 6 or top 4, something like that. You know, Dortmund came for him, right? While he was in Dortmund, he also built his project over a 3-year period. It was not I came to Dortmund and immediately started winning trophies. No, it was a gradual process. So he built the likes of Kagawa, Mario Götze, Marco Reus, Lewandowski. You know, he built all those guys, right? And he made them into champions, right? I think it was actually under Klopp that these players became world class, right? Is when they bought when Man U bought Shinji Kagawa. Kagawa was banging in goals. When these guys came for Lewandowski was the hottest striker. Guess who also played on that club? Aubameyang. So you get. So he himself, he's the kind of coach that builds players. I don't think he's ever bought a ready-made player that was a star that now came to shine. Now, Liverpool's project was also very similar to Dortmund's project, right? They were looking for a manager that would build the team. Not necessarily, you know, just they will give you money and then expect you to perform wonders. That was never Liverpool's approach, right? So even when what's it called? When he took over from Brendan Rodgers, they were trying to build a club with Brendan Rodgers, and it wasn't working for them, right? They got close to the Premier League. They actually got close, but sadly, Gerrard had to slip, and then Baba did what he did, right? So they got Klopp. What did Klopp do? Klopp bought I can't remember who his first player was, but he bought some players, right? After a while, he got the Chamberlains, he got Lallana, he got Salah, he got Mane. You know, he bought these players were not like top quality players. When he bought Salah from Roma, right? Salah was a reject from Chelsea. So Chelsea actually sold Salah to Roma because they were like, this boy is nothing. He's not going to become anything, right? Mane was in Southampton. He was still not a fantastic player. Robertson was in Hull City or some funny club like that, right? Trent was probably in secondary school or something. So he built this club together and he brought them up, right? And the difference between these other clubs you've mentioned, the Manchester United, the Chelseas, the Manchester Cities, these guys, the owners wanted an immediate change, right? They didn't want a change to come through a space of 1 season or 2 seasons or 3 seasons, right? For example, now when Chelsea had Conte gave them a season, gave them a trophy the first season. By the next season, when he couldn't give them a trophy, they chopped him out, right? Klopp went 3 seasons, zero trophies, 3 seasons, zero trophies, right? But once he started getting the trophies, they all started coming. He gave them the Champions League, right? That club, what they were missing was a very good goalkeeper. They got rid of Karius, they got rid of Mignolet, they brought in Alisson. Alisson was the final piece. So they fixed their defensive problems with Van Dijk. They got Alisson, and then all of a sudden, they knew that, okay, well, this was a team that was ready to, to get all the glory, right? But again, it's football. Once you have become a star or a champion, all the people that you beat will begin to study you and learn what you are doing, and then be able to counter it. And now Liverpool has been countered. Their secrets, their bomb is open. I don't know if I'm allowed to pause. So let me just say their bomb is now open here. So everybody has seen their tactics and now know how to attack them. So yeah, that's the major difference. The club itself, they backed Klopp for this long. They expected him to bring the trophies in a long run, unlike the other clubs you mentioned. So yeah.
All right. So from what you're saying now, he was actually backed and he was given 5 years. How well 5 years is a good period for a good manager who's what he's doing to actually accomplish what club has actually accomplished. So what's your take on this?
5 years is a good time for a project. So that's why, I mean, if that's what Liverpool were aiming for, if that's what they were going after, then yes, it's a good deal for them to win 4 trophies in 5 years. Arteta has won half of that in a few months, right? So we just have to go back to look at the team to see that what is the criteria that was given. Klopp is a great manager. He's great at giving hugs and all of that, but trophy-wise, I don't think he's that manager because he's a project-type manager. He's not a manager for instant fix, which is what we've seen with Manchester United and Chelsea. And Man City, he's not a manager for the process. He's not a manager for a quick fix. He's a manager for a project. So he would fail if you bring him in for quick fix. If you have the time for a project, yes, of course. I mean, Klopp is a fantastic manager for that. But so is everyone else. I mean, we saw what David Moyes did with Everton when he had time. He brought that team up. He made Everton relevant.
Mm-hmm.
Any manager can do that given time. So, if any manager given time can win trophies, does that mean Klopp is actually a great manager? Because he has taken a lot of time to get to where he is. 5 years, 4 trophies. Those trophies, by the way, the 4 trophies were won in the last 2 years. Champions League, Club World Cup, and Super Cup, all that was back to back. Then the Premier League this season. So this past season. So again, any manager given time with the right financial backing can produce trophies. Is Klopp one of those managers who can do quick fix? I don't think he is. And I mean, we've been awarding or rewarding Klopp for the longest because of his personality, because of what he brings, because of how he jumps up and down, running down the field, run to hugs his players. Those are the things, those are the antics that we've been rewarding him for. Is he actually tactically a sound manager that can do a quick feel like, oh, with that AC Milan and Inter Milan have not been the best for the past few years. Conte was brought in to come and do a quick fix. Inter Milan almost won the league last season. Yeah. And this year they are going for it. That's their bottom line, to win Serie A. AC Milan, well, I mean, if AC Milan decides, okay, let's bring in Klopp for a quick fix, do you think they will compete at the same level as Inter Milan currently are? I don't think so. So Is Klopp a good manager with the right money, given time? Yes, of course. But so is Harry Redknapp. So is David Moyes. So is Pellegrini. You know, but hey, it's where we are.
Hey, Tunde, are you comparing Klopp with Moyes or to Moyes?
No.
No, I'm not. I'm just
Okay.
saying that Moyes
Apologies,
did
because I just go back to the stream because I
so
step out. The
Moyes
network
did a
was a bit
fantastic
bad. Yeah.
job. If you look at Moyes' track record at Everton, he did a fantastic job without the money that Klopp had, without the resources that Klopp had. He brought Everton to a reputable position where they became a force. They qualified for Europe. Everton qualified for Europe. So, I mean, come on, their club legend is Duncan Ferguson. That is the person that is currently training Calvert-Lewin. That is their club legend. So if
But to be fair on Klopp, did he have all the resources that he needed when he joined? Because looking at all the players, no, compared to Guardiola, who is spoiled with a lot of money, he has all the money to spend. He has spent over 400 million pounds on his defense. Does Klopp have such access to such amounts of money? Because to be fair, look at all the players he has brought together. Mane from Southampton, Van Dijk from also Southampton. Look at where he brought Robertson from Hull City. Gomez from Bradford, if I'm correct. And the way he has picked all those players, they are not well-established players when he picked them up. He has picked them up from when they were not known, and he made them to be stars. And also, while he was at Dortmund, he worked with a couple of players that were not known stars, and he made them to be where they are. So I think Klopp should be given credit for the lot of work he has done and how far he has taken Liverpool's team to. Because, sorry, just to make this point, Arteta in his last two press conferences made mention, that was when they lost against Liverpool. He said, where Arsenal is at the moment, or where Liverpool is at the moment, is where he's trying to take Arsenal to. So there has been a process from where Klopp took that team. We saw what Liverpool, they were always bottling it. That match against Crystal Palace that they were leading 3-0 and they lost. No, they drew that match. They've lost. They've gone through pain. And Klopp has done a lot of work.
I understand what you're saying. According to what Tunde said, because before you went offline, the question was, did Klopp have it easy having 5 years on his hand to do that? And according to what Damini and Tunde said, what I can summarize from all they have said is Klopp is actually the man for the project. He's not a man for a quick fix, like every other manager that we have in the top six. Like the Guardiola came in, his coming in is not for a project. Guardiola coming in is just for a quick fix. Mourinho back at Tottenham is for a quick fix. Chelsea, we know they don't have a project. It's just quick fixes. Probably they're trying to start a project with Frank Lampard. I don't know if Chelsea will be patient enough to actually give Lampard 5 years that Klopp has. But as it stands presently, we know with every amount of money spent in the EPL, I don't see any big team presently waiting to run a project, except they have that patience to do 5 and above years. If they are ready to run a project, then the project will work. But if they are there to do a quick fix, I'm sorry, they'll have to spend that money. So I think that's what we all actually talked about, and we have the same conclusion on a quick fix and a project. So with Klopp, lucky for him, he has a project, and he's still working.
He has a project, yeah. Compared to true. Apologies, the network went bad where I was, or where I am currently. I had to change location.
Sorry about that. I have a question.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
So, since we were earlier trying to do something interesting, comparing David Moyes to Klopp, here's my question.
Okay.
If Moyes was given enough time in Manchester United, do you think they would have bagged in the trophies?
If he was given, I'll answer that question and I'll answer it very fast. If he was given that amount of time, And if he was given that amount of backing, I believe he would have done well. Because one, Manchester United already is not a team that are looking for glory. They are the most prestigious team in the EPL as it stands. So all they need to do is keep up with the standard they have created. So if they had so much faith in Moyes, which I saw they didn't have, if they had so much faith in Moyes and he was giving they were being patient with him, I believe he would have done more. Because one, let's understand that with Moyes coming to a club like Manchester United, not just the manager brings in players. You should know that the board brings in their own players. I want us to understand that the board brings in their own players. Is except you have the amount of years someone like Sir Alex Ferguson had in Manchester United, 26 years, before you can have your own say, before you become a stakeholder. As it stands, if Moyes had that time, I believe with the backing of the club, with the how do I put it again, with the pedigree at which the club is coming from, I believe he would have been backed up, and he would achieve better. He would have achieved a great deal. He might not have gotten the Champions League though, but I believe he would have gotten some other trophies. Unlike Mourinho, who they brought in and they had to do a quick fix, and he did 2 years with them, and 2 years he bagged how many trophies for them.
I agree
That's
with you,
the
Chimamaka. That's true because I mean, Manchester United were on the right track earlier when they gave him 6 years contract. It looked like they wanted to do a project, but they chickened out when every other team was spending. I mean, you have to know that if you're going to do that project, there are some games that you would just lose. There are some games that would not just go your way. It's because
I think as well that won't go your way.
yeah. So you have to work yourself to get. You have to work to get to that level. If you had given him, if they had allowed him to run in 6 years, maybe he may not have won the Premier. I don't want to say he would have won the Premier League definitely, but there will be a structure in place that even if you decide to fire him after the 6 years, whoever is coming in would see that this club actually backed this guy. It's just that the guy was really really bad. That's it. But if you want to do a project, yeah, some things will not go your. A lot of things won't go your way, but eventually it would all click. Which is what we are seeing with Liverpool. It all looks rosy right now because hey, they spent 80 million to buy Van Dijk in one window, and then they spent another about 70 plus
75 or
million
so.
to buy goalkeeper. Yeah,
Alisson.
they worked themselves to
Allison,
get to that level. They were ready for it. They did it, and it paid off. That's what happens when you stick with a project. But when you want to do a quick fix, you better be ready to spend your money. You better be ready to support the manager. You better be ready to not look at the players because one of the things that killed Moyes was player power. Player power became very popular. People started listening more to the players than the manager. And that just continued trickling down, just causing a lot of havoc. Stick to the manager. What the manager says he wants, you give it to him. Then, if he doesn't produce in the time that you've given him, then you can fire him. That Inter Milan is a perfect example. Brought in Conte. He has brought in all players from everywhere to win Serie A, to make Inter Milan a relevant team in Italy again, and it's working. So, is Moyes is a club demand for a quick fix? I do not think so. Is it demand for a project? Yeah, definitely.
Well, talking about players that have been signed, talking about players that have been signed, let's look at the players Liverpool have signed this summer, this transfer window. Diego Jota, this other guy, Thiago Alcantara, in Chimamaka's voice, because I don't know how to pronounce that guy's name. Sometimes twist my tongue. And they sold Lovren. For me, I feel they didn't really invest in the parts of the team that needs investment, which is the defense. Because now we see, prior to the end of last season, we saw Van Dijk being schooled by yes, they've won the league, but they were trying to chase 100 points. So there was still something to chase for, or there was still something they would try to achieve last season. And we saw Van Dijk not being strong or not being really, he was schooled by some players in the EPL. And I'm surprised Jurgen Klopp didn't really concentrate on that part of the team to strengthen that team. I just want to ask you guys, have Liverpool really invested well in this summer?
Well, When it comes to investment this season, I when you're talking investment with a project that club has, he's not expected to be spending that whole lot of money any longer. Why? Because he already has a stable team. All he needs to do is bring in one or two players. Now, the question I would expect you to be asking me is: has he actually covered up for the spots that actually needs to be covered up for? That's my question. Now, he brought in Diogo Jota, who is an attack-minded midfielder. He brought in who is this other this left wing back who he brought in as a replacement or another study for Robertson.
Timikas from Olympiacos.
Olympiacos. I think these are the only two major guys he has brought in, and he let out a Lovren go. Now, we realized that at the beginning of last season, his pairing used to be Dejan Lovren and Virgil van Dijk. Dejan Lovren had an injury that gave Gomez a spot, and he keyed into it once and for all. Yeah,
Matip too, the Cameroonian.
Matip had injury, yes. It was between Lovren and Matip with a Van Dijk, but they both had injuries. And you realize that even this season, Matip is still continuing with the injury, and you let out Lovren go. In my expectation as an analyst, I will tell you is this: he should bring in another central defender who will stand in the same pedigree as Van Dijk if he really wants to not let in goals this season. Jurgen Klopp's undoing is the fact that he keeps letting in goals. And let's not forget this: for you to be a champion, you should take in less goals and score more goals. They are doing more of the scoring and still taking in more of the goals. So there's no balance. I don't know if you get that. There's no balance. So now I believe in the positions where I believe he should actually get a quick fix would have been in central defense and also have somebody who is going to put Firmino on his toes. He has not done that. So those has been Jurgen Klopp's problems. And if that is not done by January, I'm sorry, by the end of the season, my prediction for Liverpool not making the top four is actually going to come through. He did a good deal by bringing in Thiago Alcantara. Alcantara is actually a very good cover for the aging Jordan Henderson. A very good cover for him, and he has done that. That is a very good replacement for that man. But has he fixed the attack option? Has he fixed the defensive option? If the answer to those questions are no, then Jurgen Klopp should be looking for something else at the end of the season, not the top four. I'm not standing on top four any longer. Not making the top four. With these lapses, he's not going to make the top four.
Damini, do you want to take a stab at it?
Okay, so for me, right, I would answer Ehis' question with another question. So let's look at Gomez or Matip, right? In the top six, how many teams can these guys comfortably have a starting shirt? Just Matip and Gomez. How many teams, really? I don't think there's any team that they would have a comfortable starting shirt, right?
No, they'll walk into anything. They will walk into anything. They will walk into anything.
They might walk into anything.
They will walk into anything.
There will still be a challenge. They will still fight for that shirt.
They will walk into anything, no doubt. But they will fight for
the shirt. It's not going to be a given that every week in, week out, you're going to get a shirt. No,
you fight for
right?
it.
So it's like, for example, now, earlier you mentioned that Man City spent over 400 million on their defense, right? Because Guardiola knows that he's always going to have a problem in his defense. It's the same thing with Klopp, right? Klopp's defense, Van Dijk doesn't have a standard defender that can match up to him. That's his major problem. It's the same problem that Alisson himself has. For example, now, you speak of Ramos. Ramos had Pepe. Ramos had, Varane. These are star boys, right? Let's go to, this guy, Maldini. Maldini had Nesta.
You don't mention those things are different.
Vidic had Ferdinand.
Yeah, that's
right?
True. He had West Brown.
Conte had Carvalho.
Yeah, that's true.
Van Dijk doesn't have somebody that can match up to his pedigree, like you said, Chima. Nobody can match up to his pedigree, right? And he's a human being. He's a human being. He cannot give you a perfect 100% every day, match week in, match week out. He won't give it to you, right? Now, Robertson, for me, I still feel that Robertson had at least 1 or 2 more full seasons. So I don't think getting a buy for Robertson was even the next thing to do. I feel you should have gotten a solid, solid defender to fight for shirts with Gomez and Lovren. I feel he should have sold Matip, not Lovren. I feel Lovren should have stayed. It's Matip that should have gone because Matip was the injury-prone player, right? That's number 1. Number 2, Firmino should not be starting in that team. I do not know why Firmino is starting in that team. Firmino should not be starting. I have a problem with a striker that assists more than he scores goals. I have a problem there. I have a serious problem. That's a problem.
Striker is counting assists.
Benzema in Real Madrid. When Benzema was in Real Madrid, when Ronaldo was in Real Madrid, Ronaldo was scoring the goals, fine. But Benzema was still hitting those numbers.
Yeah, that's
Benzema was still banging in the goals.
That's true.
You understand? He was giving the assist, though, but you know that I'm here. He's still banging in the goals.
Yeah.
Right? So it makes no sense to me. And that's one of the reasons why I strongly believe that they cannot retain this EPL. They can't. Okay, see Everton now. For me now, Everton are like my dark horses for this season. They're my dark horses. Everton can actually win this league.
Everton is just initial gra-gra.
I agree with you.
Initial gra-gra.
I agree.
That's what you would think when January reach and they are second.
Leicester City won the season.
Well, I feel Everton don't have that legs. I feel they don't have that depth. They don't have the depth. They don't have the depth.
What I'm saying is that remember when Leicester City won the season? What we said was it was initial gra-gra. They used initial gra-gra to win the league. Don't worry. The same way Vardy was banging in goals, is the same way this Cavalier is ready to bang in the goals. Right? Now, the beauty of it is Everton have Richardson and they have Cavalier. Richardson is actually a striker. He's not a winger. Yes. He's a full-blown striker. He's not a winger. He's just good on the wings, right? They have Rodriguez. They also have a reject that has a point to prove. Yes. Right? That's like for me that my dark horses.
For me, so yes, they could be the dark horses.
They should score goals. If not, they need to buy a player that should disturb you. A player that will put fire on the bonbon.
I'm not disputing that concerning Firmino. I'm not disputing. Yeah. But let's take a look at the coach's formation as well. Don't we think it has an effect on Firmino being a player? Because the kind of formation they play, they don't have creativity in that midfield. So they need Firmino to drop down back into that midfield to be able to see how he can spray passes to the left. If you notice, Liverpool, their strength is more on the wing backs. Robertson and Trent Alexander-Arnold. So Firmino coming back into the midfield helps Salah and Mane to come into the game. Yes, so I think is that not the reason why Alcantara was brought in?
Wait, now you see, in case you guys have not noticed, I have personal beef with Firmino. With him. Now, let me explain why. So, what you said is, I find it very interesting because I'm going to give you two clubs that play a very similar type of football. Very similar. It's not identical, but it's similar, right?
Okay.
When Ronaldo was still in Real Madrid and Gareth Bale was actually Gareth Bale, right? Benzema was dropping in. Benzema was dropping in, and Bale and Ronaldo were the ones that were banging in the goals. But guess what? Benzema was still banging in his own goals.
But to be fair on Firmino, he scored 10 goals last season, right? 10 Premiership goals.
I'm going somewhere. Let's make it interesting. Yeah. So now let's come to the Premier League. Let's come to the Premier League. See, I'm wearing the Chelsea jersey, but this is not bias. When Conte came to the Premier League, right?
Okay.
He played a very similar football to what Klopp is playing today. Very similar, right?
Yeah.
Hazard and Willian are causing destructions. All the destruction was Hazard and Willian. Guy, Diego Costa was still banging in those goals.
True, though.
So it's the same way. If Firmino wants to bang in those goals and step up as I am the 9, I'm wearing the 9 at the back of my jersey. I am the striker in this club. He will do that and bang in the goals as well. The thing is, Liverpool will be more of an attacking threat if Firmino can step up. Exactly. So
this one is hard for me.
That's why I think they also brought in Jota. That's why I think they brought in Jota.
I think Jota is just a backup for Mane.
Yeah. I mean, he can play as a striker too. So I don't know what Klopp is trying to do, but he needs a number 9. That person at the moment
number 9
is supposed to be Firmino.
It's the same thing that Guardiola is suffering right now. It's the same thing Guardiola is suffering right now. Guardiola is just using makeshift 9s. Sterling will play 9 today. Tomorrow he will put Bernardo Silva. Tomorrow he will remember that I have Gabriel Jesus on the bench. Like just get a 9. Get a 9 that's hungry for goals.
There are plenty. There's
for me.
There are a lot of them.
Could it be Liverpool has been found out? Because last season it was
definitely.
But
Aston Villa to score you 7 goals.
You know the truth
now.
Aston
Villa score you 7 goals. For the Villains to give you 7,
I can tell you that the strength of Liverpool lies on their wing backs and their attacking wingers. That is the strength of Liverpool. If you can cancel out those areas of their game, you've cut off the whole part of football for Liverpool. Klopp has built this team to play in this pattern for 5 years. Now, with this team, there's an understanding. The question you ask yourself is, when there is a problem on the wing backs and on the flanks, on the attack flanks, what solution do you bring about? Now, that is where he has been found out.
There is no plan B.
There's no plan B. Most managers are now working their way to playing out. If you can play out an Alexander-Arnold and a Robertson, Liverpool has found out. So what most like now, if you I will take you back to the Aston Villa game. We realized that they lost Alisson, who has been a strength in the defense. If you look at that game, you realize that Alexander-Arnold had one of his worst crosses in a game for an EPL season. Robertson
because he was taken out. Yeah.
Change it. Now, Robertson played strictly in the middle of their own 18-yard box. He was not given room to play. He was cut short at the first half. He tried making all those runs, but at some point he was cut out. So this is what's happening now. The question you ask Klopp is, what solution is it going to bring about if this kind of things reoccur? Now, it means Klopp has been found out. Even if you have been found out, what we expect is, why don't you beef up these areas that need to be beefed up? Now, Damini is talking about his anger with Firmino. I'm also in that same boat with him. I'm rocking that same boat with him. Do you know why Liverpool is actually made wave all through the EPL last season? It was because they had a formidable Salah and Mane. Now imagine you cut out Salah and you cut out Mane. Can Firmino deliver? Firmino had his first goal. He had his first goal in Anfield against Chelsea.
Yeah, he scored only one goal at Anfield last season. Yeah, true.
So let's understand all these things. And we expect him to be a number 9. Should I start listing number 9s that Liverpool has had? He's not living up to that. He's not living up to the task. That's my own point. So if Klopp has to work on this, he should bring in an outright goal scorer and bring in a central defender that will compete with Van Dijk. That's my thing.
But guys, don't you think it's too early they were doing this because they lost 7-2 to Aston Villa, and were thinking that they cannot retain the title? Don't you think it's too early? Is this 4 games gone?
They are lucky they are lucky they saw 7-2. They are lucky that Leeds United just did a welcome party for them. If you are playing a team like Leeds United, considering 3 as the EPL champion as the first match of the season, I'm sorry, Klopp should be laid on the ground and be flogged very well. That's the truth. Because if you're
I agree with that. Because I mean, it's what we've seen that
it's what we've seen.
You think it's too early, but clubs are
It's
beginning
never
to
too
find
early.
out. They're beginning to understand that Liverpool's game is let me outscore you. What if I outscore you?
That's the thing.
Clubs are going all attacking against them. In the past, managers will be scared and will be defending. But no matter how much you defend, if you lose 1-0 and you lose 7-0, you still 3 points that they got deducted from you.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm losing 1-0, I keep attacking you, chances are I can score.
3 points, yeah.
So players, I mean managers are finding out that hey, I can still attack you. And it is working. It is showing it worked for Leeds United. It worked for Watford last season. It worked which team was Minamino in last season when they played Liverpool and they just spread
Red
them.
Bull Salzburg.
Red Bull. They spread them out, thinking that they started making errors themselves. So it has been found out. Liverpool's tactic is I will outscore you. But other managers are beginning to see that, hey, I can also outscore you. You are not as great as you think you are. And if that continues, if Liverpool continues conceding 3+ goals, or let me not say 3+, 2+ goals every game, can they actually score more than 2 every game? That I don't think they can with Mane getting injured, with Salah having his own time off, and Firmino not delivering every game.
Sorry, also I want to add to what you're saying.
For me.
Sorry. I also want to add to what you're saying. So we are talking about Leeds United. We're talking about Leeds United. We're talking about Aston Villa, right? The Arsenal match that they actually won. The 2 reasons why they won that match was because of Alisson and Lacazette. If Lacazette was a prime Benzema on that day, they would not win against Arsenal.
They won't have won against Arsenal.
So really, it adds up to exactly. I don't see how they're going to retain this EPL. I don't see it. Like I don't see it at all.
This EPL that are chopping goals from left, right, and center.
Exactly.
Let's never talk about
Alisson was the man
Let's not
of
talk
the
about
match
Brighton hitting the bar 5 times against Man United.
Exactly. Brighton 5 times against Man United. So, man, every team here is hungry. Every team is hungry. There's no big boy. There's no.
There's a lot of money in the EPL, and everybody wants that money.
They are going to lash you out. Everybody's going to beat you. So,
concerning last season, the competition, other teams didn't really step up. The only team that stepped up with Liverpool was Man City. And Man City, they couldn't just keep it up to the last stage. They fell out. They kept drawing, they kept dropping points. But now we can see that the ante has been raised concerning competition. Everybody had to up their ante. Every team right now is bloody. They are ready to take the 3 points. And Liverpool, they've not played all the top 6 yet. They've only played, they've not even played any of the top 6 because Arsenal didn't finish in the top 6. Okay, they played Chelsea, yes. They played Chelsea. And for me, I know, yes, I say red card is part of the game, but it was just that red card that turned that game around.
They were lucky. They were lucky they had Kepa in goal. They were lucky Chelsea had Kepa in goal. If they had it,
I don't feel they were lucky. I feel Chelsea was. I can't curse on this thing, but Chelsea was the club that deserved it. To be having Kepa in goal, they deserved it.
Yeah.
That's true, That's true.
Another point I want us to touch, Van Dijk. Do you think he's overconfident? Do you think he needs fire in his bum? He needs competition? Because if you look at the games, his body language, his body demeanor, his body composition shows like, yes, I own this sport. Nobody can contest this sport with me. So even when he makes those errors, he's quickly forgiven because there is nobody in there to step in to play or to take that shirt from him. What's your take on that, guys?
Well, I would like to key in first. Now, with Virgil van Dijk, his only luck presently is the fact that we have social media. When we played football without social media, we knew those who they call defenders. I will take you back. I
don't like where you're going.
I will tell you the truth because you realize you need more hype. You go to social media. It's called advertisement. You advertise the player, and lo and behold, he's much even more hyped than those who actually played the actual football. We're talking of Van Dijk. I saw Van Dijk at Celtic. I saw Van Dijk at Southampton. I saw Van Dijk at Liverpool. And will you tell me, okay, I don't want to take it to way more defenders. I also watched Rio Ferdinand at Leeds United. And I saw that same Rio Ferdinand at Manchester United.
Come on, bro. They're not.
I don't want to compare.
Say
you understand? I don't want to compare. Now, I'm gonna go back a little. I'm gonna step back a little. This person I'm going to mention is not an outright central defender, but on his days when he's given a chance to play as a central defender, he outplays the Virgin van Dijk. And I'm going to mention his name. His name is Branislav Ivanovic. You cannot compare that guy to Van Dijk. So I'm not trying to compare him here.
You are shaking.
No, but it's the truth. It's the truth. Van Dijk had a wonderful game in the Champions League against Barcelona 2 seasons back, and he was hyped. We saw a John Terry who came against a Messi year in, year out, season out, and he masterminded the UEFA 11 Pro. So are you going to compare Van Dijk, who has an Instagram, to back up his performance? No, we don't do that any longer. This is the age whereby it is social media that pushes. Listen, I don't want to cause any unpleasant listenings to our followers and our viewers because it's the truth. Van Dijk now is more like the Maguire we have in Manchester United. Oh, 80 million. Oh, this price. But
bruh.
Are you?
Let me take Van Dijk a little bit below. Van Dijk is to me, and hey, let me not say I don't care if Liverpool fans get agitated, but hey, whatever, man. Van Dijk is hyped up Vestergaard. Remember, Southampton bought Vestergaard.
No.
Southampton bought Vestergaard to fulfill in the Van Dijk spot. That's if Liverpool should buy Vestergaard and give him the same hype that they give Van Dijk, they will be saying the same thing about Vestergaard.
I expected you to shake the table. I didn't tell you.
For me, I feel Van Dijk needs competition in that team. He needs competition. He needs serious competition, because if every game of the EPL, you are starting and you will get that, you'll be in the first 11. When you're complacent at times, there is no room for correction, because you'll be chosen by the manager. And that's why I fault Jurgen Klopp, because I felt at that defense, it needed to have brought in like 2 or 3 players centrally. You have just 3 central defenders at the moment in Matip, Gomez, and Van Dijk. And you have the Champions League, you have the EPL, you have the FA Cup, and you have, they're out of the Carabao Cup already. They're out already. But can you go through the entire season with 3 central defenders? I think they have one other young guy from the youth team, which can complement, which is 4. But I think Van Dijk needs competition in that position. We've gone 58 minutes. 58 minutes, almost an hour, and we can still keep talking and talking and talking.
I also
Our
want
last words on this episode. Last words on this episode. We titled it "Can Liverpool retain the EPL title?" So let's just give our parting shots with all that has been said. I know I've been in and out on this episode due to where I am. The network coverage is not too good, but in that order, Damini, Tunde, Chimamaka. Can we just round off this episode? Chimamaka, slow your roll, man.
Liverpool cannot retain this EPL. Like, I would be genuinely shocked if they retain it. I do not see how they retain it. They would make top 4. I believe that they can fight to make top 4, and they will be 3rd or 4th, not even 2nd. But they're not going to they're not retaining the EPL. They don't have the players that are that determined. They've also lost determination. One thing that we don't understand about Van Dijk is no longer determined to even try and win the EPL. He doesn't have that passion. He's already won it. They've already drunk champagne. They've already been called the best players in England, and they are chilling. Nobody has that drive. The only player that I can see from their first few matches that still has that drive is Mane. That's why I still keep hyping the boy up. Mane is still hungry. But everybody else, Firmino came to training with purple or pink hair. Like, what's the plan? What's that about? If you that did not score, you only scored one goal in the whole season, and they won the season, and you scored only one goal. No.
Are you carrying number 9 on your back?
And you wearing number 9 on your back, bro. He came with purple hair.
Damini has with Firmino. It's not here, man.
He's not here. He went. He bleached his teeth. His teeth were shining white. You shouldn't be smiling, bro. You should be angry. You should be frowning your face. You shouldn't be showing your teeth. So because of that, there is no way they'll win the EPL. No way. Trent, I don't think Trent has proved to us that he can do those back-to-back type of seasons that he had last season. That's another problem. We didn't talk about it, but I don't think Trent can also provide or produce another season like that so soon. I don't think he's that kind of player. I don't think he's that good. Right? I might be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But they're not. What? They are not retaining the IPL. Nothing is making them retain it. Nothing.
Sunday.
Liverpool fans are Jai fans, just like their club.
Hugging each other, high-fiving,
yeah,
all that.
That's all it is. And every once in a while, the constellations align and make you win Premier League, and you feel like, oh, you're the biggest thing in the world. They're good. They were good. I'm not even going to take that away from them. They were good. They had brilliant moments, but largely the reason they won the Premier League this past season was largely due to the fact that other teams did not step up. Other teams are already stepping up from the first game. Nobody is sitting on their laurels. No one is chilling and waiting for them to do anything. Everyone is stepping up right now. And we are beginning to see that they are not really as good as they claim they have been for the past 5 years, or how the progress they claim they've been achieving. So, with that being said, I don't think Liverpool will achieve. We will retain the Premier League. If there's anyone that's doing fasting and prayer to ensure that Liverpool don't do it, hit me up. I'll join you. They must not retain the Premier League. This is their last Premier League, by the grace of God, in Jesus' name, until another 30 years. I don't mind them winning again in 30 years. Until then, Liverpool are not retaining this team.
I can understand where your beef is coming from. Being a Manchester United fan, I can understand.
See, let me tell you, I actually used to like Liverpool and Klopp until they started believing that they can win something. Remain mediocre. Let's know that you're a mediocre team. Give us some points here and there by beating some people. Don't come and be winning Premier League. What's that? Leave it for us. Leave it for the gang people. Not Liverpool.
Chimamaka.
I've heard.
He should have gotten a Liverpool fan on this to defend himself.
You guys have actually come up. That minute just already, Tunde has just escalated the thing. So I don't even know where to start on the Liverpool matter. But my take on this, or my final parting words on the issue at hand. Well, Liverpool, firstly, I don't see them retaining the EPL. Secondly, they've been found out. Thirdly, if there's anything like that, I see them on a fast decline if things are not put back in order. Fourth, Klopp would actually need to go and reassess, he has to go back to the drawing board and have different tactical approaches to a game. I would compare him to Mourinho. I watched a documentary on Mourinho whenever he trains. He trains with a player less because he always thinks about a red card. Does Klopp do that? No, he doesn't do that. When you have your best player out of the pitch, Mourinho trains without his best players so that he brings about a balance. So Klopp doesn't do all those things. I'm not saying I'm comparing Mourinho to Klopp, but man, the man has to wake up. And I realized last season, on statistics, my own personal statistics, I think he clocked a 1 billion hog, if we all counted. And
1 billion hug.
You guys need to let
What's
him
that?
fucking go. He's just spreading
let's
love, guys. Come on.
let's hope that the hogs this season will result to trophies, because
Nah, man.
I don't see them doing that. With the
Nah,
with the Vermeer there, I'm sorry. With the Van Dijk there, I'm sorry. With the whole team there, with the way they are, I'm sorry, they won't do that. What chance in the next game? It's Everton, right? Ancelotti will give them a shot.
Yeah, they're playing the Merseyside derby.
Yeah. Oh wow, that's true. They've always lost. Everton has always lost 1-0 or a draw. Was it stand?
To be fair, they drew. They shared the spoils last season after
But
the resumption, after the pandemic. It's 0-0. It was 0-0.
now you see what we are all seeing what Everton is doing. Let's not be surprised if we see
and sorry,
of
the game that
Everton.
Everton, the game that the Merseyside derby that Liverpool won last season was because of error by Pickford.
Yes,
Ball that was already going out of the bar
out of the
on
bar,
90 plus minutes. That I went to go and bring back inside, and that one not
exactly.
anything. So I'm sure
now
that
we are-
Everton will be ready
I think-
this season.
There is nothing I can add to what you guys have said already, because I can see it's a consensus already, and you guys have said it all. Liverpool, it might be difficult for them to retain the title only if Jurgen Klopp, tinker with his team, if he has to change a bit of tactics and also do what he needs to do. It's been nice doing this with you guys. It's been nice doing this. We hope we do this. It's just a FootyWit podcast special where we just sit down, we talk, and we freestyle, and we have fun doing this, because we know we love talking football and we love football. My name is Ehis Anthony, and we are on social media platform. We're on Instagram, and also we're on Twitter. Follow us and like us. And also, this is on YouTube. You can watch, and also you can share, drop your comments, and also please subscribe. So from us today, we say have a nice weekend.